Hello once again everybody, it's Chris Bezanoy or Chris B with CSB Security Inc. in another informative video. Today we're going to talk about the top 7 things you should be mindful of before you purchase that piece of land or a shell of a building if you wish to produce cannabis in Canada or pretty much anywhere in the world. Before I move forward, I'm about to tell you is based on my experience. It's based on my opinions. Of course, your opinions may vary. It's based on the fact that we've dealt with over 420 applications in Canada, and now we're branching out into overseas in the US. It's based on our partnerships with real estate agents, having to review any sort of facilities that might be sold that are cannabis conducive, outdoor land. We've helped facilitate a few transactions for LPs that want to sell or potential people wanting to buy LPs. Nonetheless, our experiences are maybe different than yours, and of course, our opinions may be different. So this top 7 list is in no particular order. It's just giving you information to be able to review, to make sure that you're purchasing the right piece of land or shell of a building before you actually go out and buy it. Number 1 on the list is utilities. Make sure your utilities are enough for not only your phase 1 potential building, but also your expansion. All too often when we're asked to review a site that somebody's purchased, we fly out there and we look at it and it's an awesome shell of a building. And we ask what kind of power is on site, and we find out there's nowhere near enough power to even run a few lights to be able to offset your grow. Potentially, the gas is going to be something you're going to want to look at. Maybe you have to upgrade the gas lines. Water, what's going to happen with water? Are you going to have city water, or is it going to be well water? No matter which way you look at it, utilities are extremely important, especially power. I can tell you right now there's a big difference between single phase and 3-phase power. Number 2 on the list is local authority approval. So this could be local municipalities, it could be local police. Either way you look at it, even if it's in Canada or overseas in the US, what we are finding is that more often than not, somebody has to approve of your application and approve of a potential production facility in a municipality. In Canada, you have to reach out to the municipality and say, this is what we're wanting to do. The municipality has the ability to reject your application. In other words, they don't want anything to do with cannabis anymore with any facility in the municipality. I could say for sure that countries in Europe and of course the States are following suit. Some countries in Europe don't want you to have any cannabis production facility within 500 to 1,000 meters away from a city center, or maybe away from a school. Maybe it's a church. Some municipalities require you to purchase the land first. In other words, you can't put an application in until you actually own the land. Either way you look at it, municipalities more and more are being able to choose whether or not they want a production facility when it comes to cannabis anywhere on the plot of land or land that they control. Number 3 on the list is physical construction. You may be looking into a shell of a building. You may show up on site and you see that it's got great siding. It's all nice and shiny, but does that mean it's been constructed properly? For all you know, the construction could be wood, and on the outside looks great, but on the inside is wood. Either way you look at it, physical construction of an existing shell is extremely important. Does it have high enough ceilings? What if you want to do tiered grow? Are those ceilings 30 feet high or maybe only 20? Are they high enough to put HVAC on the top? Maybe the facility itself, the shell, is supported by beams that are in the middle of the facility. Now are we saying that you have support beams in the middle of your grow space, and now you have to make sure you paint those beams with food grade paint to be compliant? Potentially. So the facility construction is key. Even if it's just a shell, you got to make sure it's conducive for cannabis production, processing, or cultivation. Number 4 on the list is sensitive uses. Most municipalities will not want you to have a cannabis production facility anywhere near a school. Maybe it's a stadium, maybe it's a church, maybe it's a daycare. Either way, we call this sensitive uses. In Canada, as an example, you're not going to want to have a production facility across the street from a daycare. You're not going to want to go into a shared use building where maybe there's a gym underneath you and there's tons of people going to the gym, in essence, can actually smell the cannabis going on upstairs. Either way you look at it, sensitive uses are key. You're going to want to make sure you know what's in the area. You're going to want to make sure if there are any sensitive uses in the area, but you may want to go as far as to ensure that you can control who moves in beside you. Imagine if you have a plot of land and beside you is a land for sale. Somebody buys it and they come in and they build a school. Now you've got a school beside your production facility. Could you potentially have to shut down that facility? Maybe, depending on where you are in the world. Number 6 on the list is the expansion capabilities. Sorry, number 5 on the list is expansion capabilities. You're going to want to make sure that you can expand your facility if that's in your business plan. It's not enough to just go out and buy a plot of land and think, well, great, we're going to plop down a 5,000 square foot facility, we're going to get licensed, and then we'll figure it out from there, because you may find you want to expand on that site, but there is no expansion capabilities. In other words, it's not enough space. Potentially, you've got an existing shell of a building, and you think to yourself, well, great, we're just going to install a greenhouse on this plot of land after we've got licensed. And all of a sudden you find out, after you've been licensed, that you can't do a greenhouse on that plot of land. Why? Because maybe it's heritage land. Maybe there's a big creek going through it. Maybe the soil underneath is just not hard enough. Now you've got to ship in a whole bunch of rocks from somewhere else just to make sure the foundation is good for a greenhouse. Either way you look at it, expansion should be something you always look into. Number 6 on the list is ease of transportation. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to be looking at a facility, no matter where you are in the world, you're going to want to make sure you can do shipping and receiving ideally. Obviously, you want to sell cannabis. How are you going to ship it out of your facility? If you've got a long roadway that leads from a main road and it snakes all the way through a bunch of trees, up a few hills, down a few ditches, and all of a sudden it's an epic snowstorm, are you now sending potential vehicles down a death trap? Because now they have to circumvent a whole bunch of hills, a whole bunch of curves, maybe some slippery road, maybe it's icy, and next thing you know, they're in a ditch. So be mindful of where your facility is and how you're going to facilitate shipping and receiving and vehicles coming in, not only from people that want to pick up cannabis and ship it or supply receiving, but also from anybody that works in your facility. We're talking employees. Is it safe for them to get to the facility? Is it up a mountain range? Is it down a big valley? Do you have to go down a huge hill in order to get to the facility? And in the wintertime, you're basically bobsledding on your way down. Either way you look at it, getting to your facility is key also. And the last thing on the list, and this is a pretty big one, is be mindful of the agent, real estate agent, or the seller. Real estate agents, as much as they are really good at what they do, they may not always know how to cultivate cannabis or even process. They may not even know the regulations. They just know the awesomeness of the facility. And often I find that there's a lot of listings right now, no matter where you are in the world, of people saying, hey, there's a facility for sale. There's a plot of land for sale. This is perfect for cannabis. Do they actually know if it's perfect for cannabis? Did they just do a quick search and go, well, municipality says it's okay, so this is perfect? Not always. More often than not, a real estate agent will, through no fault of their own, present a facility that looks awesome for cannabis production. And then somebody like myself comes in and goes, well, it is conducive for cannabis production, but is it ideal? Potentially not. On the other side is the seller. Maybe the seller is telling the real estate agent, this is what's going on. Real estate agent doesn't know any better. Okay, seller, you're telling us because you built this facility, that's what's going on. Is it true? Sometimes a seller will sell a facility for way more than it's actually worth because they know it's cannabis conducive. Sometimes they'll say, this is perfect for a processing facility. And then you go in and say, okay, great, but now you need to put drains everywhere. And now you're drilling into a beautiful concrete floor to put all those drains in. Not a bad thing. Did the seller know that's what you needed? Maybe not. Did the seller tell you that's what's needed? Probably not. Did the real estate agent know that's what's required? Probably not also. Nonetheless, I'm not saying that agents are bad. They are obviously very good at what they do. But just do your research and ask them, how many facilities have they sold? Do they know how to cultivate? Do they know the regulations of whatever local government is wanting you to approve a license in whatever area you're looking at? They're going to want to know this stuff. And if not, you can reach out to consultants like us who do fly all over the world, letting people know if the facility they want to buy, whether it's a shell or a piece of land, empty plot of land, whatever, existing LP, we can let you know if it is conducive, if it is approved, if it is a good buy. Either way you look at it, we're here to help. Top 7 list. Be mindful before you buy a facility, before you buy that plot of land, or before you buy an LP or a shell of a building. There are things you should consider. It's Chris Besnoy, CSB Security Inc. Let us know if you need our help. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.